This is Tony T here from Tony'sPicks.com with our college football pick show here for Friday, November 28th. For more free pick videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Lots of free picks on our channel for myself and our team of cappers here at Tony'sPicks.com, making it a great channel to subscribe to. Hit us up with that like, that thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. And then visit our site, Tony'sPicks.com. We are a multi-capper site showcasing top performers in our industry. Click the links to the hot cappers, get signed up to long-term passes. Top performers up here like Sean Higgs, Brian, DeAndre, been absolutely on fire. Justin's been on fire as well. Kevin Thomas up there on the leaderboards as well. Latest premium picks here set the page with best bets and more. We will be locked and loaded here for this card on Friday. Remember, all of our one-day passes are profit guaranteed. They must earn a profit. Amount purchased is credited back to your account for site credits. That's profit guarantee. And then our promo code TonyT at checkout will knock off that 15%. The link is in the description to get signed up. So let's go ahead. Let's get this one underway. Got Ohio and Buffalo here for Friday. Ohio improved to 7-4 after their 42-14 home victory against UMass. Bobcats had minimal passing and rush for 363 yards for 6.4 yards a carry. On defense, they limited the Minutemen to 215 yards with good work against the pass and run. Parker Navarro here just 3 of 8 passing for 28 yards. He rushed for 81 yards and 2 scores. Buffalo now 5-6 after a 37-20 home defeat to Miami, Ohio. The Bulls had movement in their passing game and rushed for 46 yards. On defense, they allowed 3.9 yards per carry, along with 185 yards passing for 7.4 yards per pass attempt. Buffalo 1 win away from bowl eligibility, but have lost 2 straight. Ohio 1-2 on the road in the MAC. The Bobcats are putting up just 18 points per game on the road in the MAC. On defense in the conference, so they're away from home, allowing 4.5 yards a carry with 7.4 yards per pass attempt. Wind is in the forecast. The Bulls at home in the MAC throw for 280 yards and hold teams to 3.6 yards and 55% completion rate. Bobcats 1-4 the spread on the road. Pick here Buffalo plus the 7. Kent State and Northern Illinois. This one for Friday. Kent is now 4-7 after a 28-16 home defeat to Central Michigan. The Golden Flashes had movement in their passing game and rushed for 91 yards for 2.5 yards a carry. On defense, they limited the Huskies' passing attack and allowed 174 yards rushing for 4 yards per carry. Drew DeShields in the game goes 14 of 28 for 184 yards. Northern Illinois is 3-8 after their 35-19 home defeat to Western Michigan. Huskies had a poor work in their passing game and rushed for 174 yards for 4 yards a carry. On defense, they limited the Broncos' pass attack and allowed 361 yards rushing for 6 yards per run. Jalen making in the game 1 of 7 for 5 yards. Kent State 1-2 on the road in the MAC, but competitive in their 2 games. NIU 1-2 at home in conference. Cold weather and some wind is forecasted. They ran poorly on the road in MAC play and struggled with quarterback accuracy. NIU has been effectively running the football at home in the MAC with 4.7 yards per carry, but surrendered 4.8 yards per rush to opponents. They have defended the pass well at home in conference. Kent State lack of running game is concerned with these conditions. Pick here Northern Illinois here minus 5.5. Iowa and Nebraska going off on Friday. Iowa now 7-4 after their 20-17 home victory against Michigan State. The Hawkeyes had light movement in their passing game and rushed for 154 yards for 3.9 yards a carry. On defense, they held the Spartans to 3 yards per rush with 255 yards passing for 6 yards per pass attempt. Mark Winowski here, 12 of 22 passing for 147 yards with a touchdown and a pick. He rushed for 57 yards. Nebraska 7-4 with a 37-10 road defeat at Penn State. The Cornhuskers were inefficient in the passing game and with 131 yards rushing for 4 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 412 yards with poor work in the run and pass. T.J. Lateef here, 21 of 37 for 187 yards. Wind and cold weather are in the forecast. Nebraska 2-2 at home in the Big Ten. Iowa 2-1 on the road in conference play. The Hawkeyes rushed for 5.2 yards a carry on the road and limited in the passing game. They defend the run well on the road against the Big Ten by allowing 7.2 yards per pass attempt. Nebraska at home passes for 71% completion rate for 6.8 yards per pass attempt with really good work against the pass on defense. Iowa 2-4 the spread on the road, facing teams that average 5.9 yards per play or greater. Pick here Nebraska plus 6. Utah and Kansas going off here on Friday. We've got Utah now 9-2 after their 51-47 home victory against Kansas State. The Utes had good movement in their passing game and rushed for 292 yards for 5.8 yards a carry. On defense, they limited the Wildcats through the air and allowed 472 yards rushing for 11.2 yards per carry. Devin Dampier here, 18 of 33 passing for 259 yards and 2 touchdowns. He rushed for 94 yards and 2 scores. Kansas drops to 5-6 with a 38-14 road defeat at Iowa State. The Jayhawks had movement in through the pass and rushed for 132 yards for 6.3 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 462 yards with poor work in the run and pass. Jalen Daniels, 13 of 23 passing for 154 yards with a pick. Kansas is a win away from bowl eligibility, but has lost 4 of 5. They are 2-2 at home in the Big 12. Utah 2-1 on the road in conference play. Utah has put up some good numbers here on the road in conference, but defensively allowing 4.8 yards per rush with 7.2 yards per pass attempt. Kansas home put up some pretty good numbers in the run and pass against the conference and allow 4.2 yards per carry. Jayhawks are 3-0 the spread as as home underdogs. We'll take Kansas here at plus 10.5. Ole Miss and Mississippi State. College football pick this one for Friday. Ole Miss is 10-1 after their 34-24 home victory against Florida. Rebels gained 538 yards with good work in the run and pass. On defense, they allowed 4.1 yards per rush with 218 yards passing for 6.8 yards per pass attempt. Trinidad Chambliss in the game, 26-35 for 301 yards with a touchdown and pick. The State fell to 5-6 with their 49-27 road defeats in Missouri. The Bulldogs had movement in the passing game and rushed for 110 yards for 2.1 yards a carry. Defensively, they limited the Tigers to the air and allowed 326 yards rushing for 8.3 yards per passing, for 8.3 yards per pass attempt. Blake Shapen in 19 of 33 for 199 yards and 2 picks. He rushed for 2 scores. Mississippi State has lost 6 of 7 behind really poor rushing offense and defense. Ole Miss is getting balanced from the offense and defenses, and defending the run as well. They have a recent road win in Oklahoma by 8. The Rebels are 5-3 the spread as a road favorite. The Bulldogs are 4-7 the spread as home underdog. This rivalry game usually is played in prime time, and it's kind of a weird setting for an early game. We're going to take Ole Miss here at -7. Air Force and Colorado State for Friday's action here. Air Force now 3-8 after their 20-3 home defeat to New Mexico. They gained 161 yards with poor work in the run and pass. They limited the Rams' passing game and allowed 172 yards rushing for 4.3 yards a carry. Kemper Hodges, 1 of 5 passing for 5 yards. He rushed for 50 yards in the game. Colorado State now 2-9 after their 49-21 road defeat at Boise State. The Rams had movement in their passing game and rushed for 39 yards for 2.3 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 533 yards with poor work in the run and pass. Taj Bullock here in the game. He may see action due to injury to the starter and a suspension to the backup. Bullock has experience with Akron the past 2 years. The run game has been poor for the Rams, so they struggle really at the top. Struggle on the run here down the stretch. Air Force still rushing effectively. Colorado State has failed to cover 6 of 8. We'll take Air Force here, minus the 2.5. San Diego State and New Mexico State. This one for Friday. San Jose State is 9-2 after their 25-3 home victory against San Jose State. The Aztecs gained 248 yards with poor work in the run and pass. They defended the run and pass well by allowing 268 yards. Jane Denigan here, 8 of 16 for 81 yards. New Mexico now 8-3 after a 20-3 road win at Air Force. The Lobos had slight movement in their passing game and rushed for 172 yards for 4.3 yards a carry. On defense, they held the Falcons to 162 yards and defended the run and pass well. New Mexico is defending the run pretty well here. San Jose State passing game has been poor over the past 3 weeks. The Lobos are defending well and getting better play at quarterback. The Lobos have a recent road win at UNLV. They have covered 5 straight and won every home game in conference. We'll take New Mexico here, +1. Temple and North Texas, this one for Friday. Temple fell to 5-6 with their 37-13 home defeat to Tulane. The Owls gained 204 yards with poor work in the run and pass. On defense, they allowed 4.5 yards per rush with 231 yards passing for 8 yards per pass attempt. Evan Simon here, 21 of 32 for 168 yards with 2 touchdowns. North Texas now 10-1 with a 56-24 road win at Rice. Mean Green gained 640 yards with good run and pass performance. On defense, they limited the Owls' passing game and allowed 296 yards passing for 5.9 yards per pass attempt. Drew Messamaker here, 19 of 23 for 469 yards with 3 touchdowns. Should North Texas win, they beat Tulane in the AAC championship. They have a really good shot at making the playoffs here as a team out to the group of 5 here. They have won and covered 5 straight behind great work in the passing game. They have defended the run well down the stretch. The Owls' defense has struggled. We're going to take North Texas here, minus 19.5. Georgia and Georgia Tech for Saturday. We have Georgia now for Friday's games. Friday game. Georgia is 10-1 after the 35-3 home victory against Charlotte. The Bulldogs gained 449 yards with effective running and passing. On defense, they held the 49ers to 169 yards in the game with really strong work against the run and pass. Gunnar Stockton, 17 of 21 for 196 yards with a pick. We've got Georgia Tech here, 9-2 after their 42-28 home defeat to Pittsburgh. The Yellow Jackets had movement from their passing game and rushed for 121 yards for 3.7 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 8.5 yards per pass attempt with 186 yards rushing for 4.7 yards a carry. Haynes King here, 27 of 41 for 257 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. He rushed for 76 yards and a score. Georgia Tech's defense has struggled down the stretch, but their passing game has been outstanding. The Bulldogs put up huge offensive numbers against Texas, Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Tennessee. The Yellow Jackets 3-0 to the over in their past 3 games. The pick here will be Georgia and Georgia Tech over 59.5. One second here. You guys there you go. It's Boise State and Utah State for Friday. Boise State now 7-4 after their 49-21 home victory against Colorado State. The Broncos gained 533 yards with really strong work in the run and pass. On defense, they held the Rams at 2.3 yards per carry with 293 yards passing for 6.4 yards per pass attempt. Max Cutforth here, 22 of 34 in the game for 239 yards. Utah State 6-5 after their 28-17 road win at Fresno State. The Aggies were inefficient through the air and rushed for 227 yards for 4.8 yards a carry. On defense, they limited the Bulldogs' passing game and allowed 178 yards rushing for 6.6 yards a carry. Bryson Barnes, 16 of 30 for 150 yards with a pick. He rushed for 113 yards. Boise State has been getting good running production. Utah State has bad performances against the run in recent games. Cutforth here has been forced into action due to injury and really showed improvement the last week as had their rush defense. The Broncos have covered 6 of 7. Pick here will be Boise State minus 3. Indiana and Purdue, this one for Friday. Indiana 11-0 after a 31-7 home victory against Wisconsin. The Hoosiers had a really strong passing performance and rushed for 83 yards for 2.2 yards a carry. On defense, they held the Badgers to 168 yards by strongly defending the run and pass. Francisco Mendoza in this game, 22 of 44 for 209 yards with 4 touchdowns. Purdue fell to 2-9 after a 49-13 road defeat at Washington. The Boilermakers gained 267 yards with really poor work in the run and pass. They allowed 506 yards. Again, they poorly defended the run and pass here against the Huskies. Ryan Brown, 1 of 6 for 17 yards and a pick. We got Purdue has lost 9 straight with bad pass defense. They have averaged 13 points per game in their past 3. The Hoosiers' pass offense has been strong against the conference with solid defense against the run. We'll take here Indiana minus 28.5. Texas A&M and Texas, this one for Friday. We have Texas A&M now 11-0 after their 48-0 home victory against Samford. 2 weeks ago, it was a 31-30 home victory against South Carolina. The Aggies had a good passing performance, but rushed for 64 yards for 2.1 yards a carry. Offensively, They limited the Gamecocks' run attack and allowed 267 yards passing for 8.6 yards per pass attempt. Marcel Reed here, 10 of 15 for 120 yards and 3 picks. Texas now 8-3 with a 52-37 home victory against Arkansas. The Longhorns had a huge passing game and rushed for 97 yards for 3.5 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 6 yards per rush with 324 yards passing for 6.6 yards a carry. Arch Manning here, 18 of 30 for 389 yards with 4 touchdowns. Texas cannot get the run game going, and they're just one-dimensional for Arch Manning, the quarterback. I mean, the Longhorns' pass defense has not been sharp either. A&M 4-0 on the road beating LSU, Notre Dame, and Missouri. The Aggies have gone over in 5 straight against FBS opponents. The Longhorns have gone over in 3 of 4 as they're giving up yards against the pass. Rain is possible, but light wind and mild temperature. Pick here will be Arizona, Texas A&M, and Texas to go over 52.5. Arizona and Arizona State for Friday night. We got Arizona now 8-3 after their 41-17 home victory against Baylor. The Wildcats had good movement in the run game and rushed for 172 yards for 4.9 yards a carry. Defensively, they limited the Bears' passing game and allowed 181 yards rushing for 4 yards a carry. Noah Fifita here, 14 of 25 for 183 yards with a touchdown and a pick. He rushed for 33 yards here in the game. Arizona State now 8-3 with their 42-17 road win in Colorado. The Sun Devils here posted 580 yards with solid work here in the run and pass. Defensively, they limited the Buffs' passing attack and allowed 135 yards rushing for 4.5 yards per attempt. Jeff Sims here, 11 of 24 for 206 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Arizona 2-2 on the road in conference play. Arizona State 3-1 at home in conference in the Big 12. Arizona's had some poor run defensive performances against Cincinnati, Houston, and BYU. So we're going to take Arizona State here at plus the 1.5. For more free pick videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Lots of free picks on our channel for myself and our team of cappers here at Tony'sPicks.com, making this a great channel to subscribe to. Hit us up with that like, that thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. And then visit our site, Tony'sPicks.com, for our best bets. Our premium plays are there. And our promo code TonyT at checkout will knock off that 15%. The link is in the description to get signed up. That's going to do it for now. I'm Tony T, and we'll talk with you guys later.